You must start now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, but right now, in this moment. Your life is ticking away every second, a precious resource you cannot get back. God shows no mercy. It moves forward whether you act or not. While you wait for perfect conditions, opportunities slip through your fingers. Perfect readiness is a myth that keeps you stuck. Most people spend their lives preparing to live. They study, plan, and organize, but never launch. Ask yourself, how many dreams have died in your heart while you waited to feel ready? How many ideas have you buried in the graveyard of someday? The cost of delay is immeasurable. For every day you hesitate, someone else steps forward. Someone else claims what could have been yours. Someone else serves those you were meant to serve. Your greatest barrier is not outside forces. It's the voice inside that whispers, wait until you know more. That voice is lying to you. The most successful people in history started before they felt prepared. We learn by doing, not by waiting. Action creates clarity. Motion generates momentum. Starting reveals the path forward that remains invisible until you take the first step. An oak tree doesn't question if it's ready to grow. The eagle doesn't wonder if it knows enough to fly. They simply respond to what they were made for. You weren't born to hesitate. You weren't created to wait in the shadows. Your purpose demands your participation, and it cannot fulfill itself without your action. This time for preparation has ended. The moment for movement has come. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Make the call, write the proposal, take the risk, begin the journey. Your life's work is waiting, and it starts with a single step taken today. You are not an accident. You are not random. You are not just taking up space on this planet. You were created with precise intention, crafted with careful thought, and designed with a specific purpose that only you can fulfill. Look at your hands. Examine your fingerprints. No one else on earth out of billions of people has the exact same pattern. That physical uniqueness points to a deeper reality. You possess gifts, talents, and abilities that no one else has in quite the same combination. Your voice has a tone that no other voice has. Your mind connects ideas in ways no other mind does. Your experiences have shaped you into someone who can reach people that others cannot reach. Your perspective allows you to see solutions that remain invisible to everyone else. The problem is not that you lack anything necessary for greatness. The problem is that you have not yet unwrapped the gift of yourself. Many of us walk around like wrap presents never opened, our contents never revealed. Think about a hammer. Never used to build. A pen never used to write. A voice never used to sing. That's what happens when you don't step into your purpose. The world misses out on what only you can give. Some of you sit here thinking, but I'm ordinary. I'm just like everyone else. That thought itself is the cage that keeps you confined. Ordinariness is a myth. It doesn't exist in nature. Every snowflake, every leaf, every grain of sand is unique. How much more are you? The blueprint for your life isn't found by copying others. It's found by looking within, by understanding what moves you, what angers you, what problems you notice that others walk past. Those reactions are signposts pointing to your purpose. When you fulfill your original design, you experience a satisfaction that nothing else provides. Not money, not fame, not pleasure. True fulfillment comes from becoming what you were made to be and doing what you were made to do. Your world is incomplete without your contribution. There's a space in human history that only you can fill. There are people waiting for what only you can offer. Your community, your nation, your generation needs what lies dormant within you. Stop asking permission to be who you were designed to be. Start today to uncover and express your original purpose. There's a vast difference between merely existing and truly living. Existing is breathing, eating, sleeping, basic functions that keep you here. Living is expressing the fullness of who you are using every gift, talent, and capacity you possess. Most people you see walking around are operating at just 10 of their true potential. They've settled for a fraction of their capacity. They've convinced themselves that mediocrity is all they can achieve. They breathe, but they don't fully live. Think about your smartphone. If you only used it to make calls, ignoring its camera, internet, apps, and other functions, you'd be using maybe 5 of its capabilities. Yet that's exactly how most people live their lives. They access only a tiny portion of their abilities. You are sitting on an oil field of potential and striking matches on the surface. You have symphonies within you, but play single notes. You have novels inside you, but write mere sentences. Your capacity for achievement, creation, and transformation is astronomically greater than what you're currently expressing. The ceiling you feel above you isn't real. It's made of thoughts, beliefs, and ideas that you've accepted about yourself. Every time you say, I can't, that's not for people like me, or I don't have what it takes, you reinforce this false ceiling. Your true potential is not determined by your education, your background, or your current circumstances. Those things influence but do not define what you can become. Your potential is determined by your design, and you were designed for greatness. The seeds of that greatness are already planted within you. They don't need to be imported from somewhere else. They simply need to be watered, nurtured, and given room to grow. Stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Stop measuring yourself against others and start measuring yourself against your own dormant potential. The greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's living with untapped potential. It's coming to the end of your days knowing you had wings but chose to crawl. It's having capabilities that were never developed, gifts that were never shared. Wake up to who you really are. What you can see determines what you can become. Vision is not just an extra advantage in life. It's the fundamental requirement for any meaningful achievement. Without it, even your greatest efforts will scatter in random directions. Vision is clarity about your destination. It's knowing exactly where you're headed before you take your first step. It's having a mental picture so vivid that it feels real even before it exists in the physical world. When you hold a clear vision, you possess a magnetic force that pulls your future into your present reality. People fail not because they lack effort, but because they lack clarity. They work hard, sweat, and strain, but their energy has no focus. Like a flashlight with its beam spread wide, their power is diffused. Vision concentrates your energy like a laser beam, cutting through obstacles that scattered light cannot touch. Your mind cannot move toward what it cannot see. This is why creating mental pictures of your desired future is not just helpful. It's essential. These pictures aren't daydreams or wishful thinking. They are blueprints that your mind and body begin to construct in reality. The clearer and more detailed these mental images, the more precisely your life will reflect them. When you wake up each morning with a crystal clear picture of where you're going, decisions become simpler. Opportunities are easier to evaluate. Time management improves naturally. You instinctively know what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Vision creates efficiency. There's a connection between seeing and becoming that most people never realize. What occupies your mental sight gradually occupies your life. The images you consistently hold in your mind are quietly shaping your future, whether you're conscious of it or not. This is why you must guard what you allow yourself to envision. Your vision must be written down. Fake ideas floating in your mind lack power. When you commit your vision to paper, it gains substance. It becomes a contract with yourself. It transforms from a dream to a plan. A simple act of writing clarifies your thinking and strengthens your commitment. Vision isn't just about what you want to achieve. It's about who you must become. The greatest visions require personal transformation. As you pursue what you see, you grow into the person capable of creating it. The journey toward your vision changes you from the inside out. Without vision, you'll always be at the mercy of circumstances. With it, you become the architect of your circumstances. Without vision, you'll work for someone else's dreams. With it, others will help you build yours. Your life will never exceed the dimensions of what you can clearly see for yourself. Expand your vision, and you expand your life. Leadership begins with you. Before you can lead anyone else, you must first master the art of leading yourself. The most important person you will ever lead is the person you see in the mirror each morning. Personal leadership means taking full responsibility for your development. No one else is coming to discover you, train you, or push you toward greatness. The responsibility sits squarely on your shoulders. You must become your own coach, your own trainer, your own motivation. Most people wait for someone else to develop them. They expect employers, parents, or teachers to pull the greatness out of them. This passive approach guarantees mediocrity. True growth happens when you actively pursue it, when you make daily investments in your own improvement. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your decisions. Personal leadership is making tough choices when no one is watching. It's choosing the pain of discipline over the ease of distraction. It's sacrificing immediate pleasure for long-term fulfillment. Every great external achievement begins as an internal victory. Before you can conquer markets, you must conquer mindsets. Before you can build companies, you must build character. Before you can lead movements, you must move yourself from where you are to where you need to be. Develop daily habits that build your leadership muscle. Read books that challenge your thinking. Seek uncomfortable conversations that expand your perspective. Practice making decisions quickly and sticking with them. Train yourself to follow through even when motivation fades. Personal leadership requires brutal honesty. You must see yourself as you truly are. Strengths and weaknesses, gifts and flaws. Self-deception is the enemy of growth. Invite feedback, welcome criticism, and assess yourself without excuses or justification. Your time, energy, and focus are your most precious resources. How you manage them determines your destiny. Personal leadership means saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It means pruning activities that don't align with your vision. The highest form of leadership isn't controlling others. It's influencing them through the power of your example. When you lead yourself effectively, others naturally want to follow. Your life becomes a demonstration of what's possible, inspiring others to reach for their own potential. The greatest challenge of personal leadership is consistency. Anyone can make good decisions occasionally. Leaders make good decisions repeatedly, day after day, even when difficult. They understand that excellence isn't an event, it's a habit. It is the great thief of human potential. It robs more dreams, steals more opportunities, and prevents more achievements than any external force ever could. Yet fear itself is an illusion, a shadow that appears substantial but contains no actual substance. What you fear most has no power, except the power you give it through your belief. Fear is false evidence appearing real. It creates scenarios of failure, rejection, and pain that exist only in your imagination, not in your reality. Those people live in prison by invisible bars they've constructed in their own minds. They avoid risks not because they've tried and failed, but because they've imagined failing and decided the pain would be too. They reject opportunities not because they lack ability, but because they fear their ability might not be enough. The secret to freedom is not the absence of fear, but action despite its presence. Courage isn't fearlessness. It's feeling terrified and moving forward anyway. It's doing what needs to be done with trembling hands and a racing heart. It's saying yes while your knees shake and your voice cracks. Every great achievement in human history was accomplished by someone who felt fear but refused to be controlled by it. The difference between extraordinary people and average ones isn't their level of fear. It's their response to it. Fear shrinks when confronted. Each time you face what frightens you, the fear itself becomes smaller. Each time you avoid it, the fear grows stronger. This is why courage functions like a muscle. It develops through consistent use and atrophies with neglect. The greatest barrier between you and your dreams is not external circumstances, but internal hesitation. You are far more capable than you believe, but you'll never discover your true capacity until you push beyond the boundaries of your comfort. Well, stop asking if you're ready. Stop wondering if you're qualified. Stop questioning if you deserve success. These questions are fear speaking, trying to keep you small and safe. Fear antidote to fear is not positive thinking. It's positive action. Don't try to eliminate your fear. Instead, acknowledge it, feel it fully, then act anyway. Your fear will follow you to the starting line, but it cannot run the race unless you allow it. Your life is shaped by your surroundings more than you realize. Like a plant that grows towards sunlight. You naturally become like the people, places, and influences that surround you daily. This truth can work for you or against you. The conversations you hear, the behaviors you witness, and the attitudes you're exposed to silently program your mind. They set the ceiling for what you believe is possible. They establish what you consider normal, or they determine the standards you accept for your own life. Many people wonder why they can't break through to new levels of success while remaining in environments designed for mediocrity. They try to rise above while being pulled down by the gravity of limiting surroundings. This approach defies natural law. Choose influences that elevate you. Seek out people who have already achieved what you're working toward. Find communities where excellence is expected, not exceptional. Place yourself in settings where your goals seem modest compared to those around you. This often requires the courage to leave familiar spaces. You may need to step away from relationships that anchor you to old versions of yourself. You might need to change jobs, social circles, or even locations. These decisions are difficult, but necessary for transformation. Creating your own growth atmosphere sometimes means standing alone temporarily. It means turning off negative media, declining invitations to environments that drain you, and sometimes being misunderstood by those who prefer the comfort of the familiar. Your environment will either lift you or limit you. It will either expand your thinking or reinforce your fears. It will either inspire your highest potential or confirm your self-doubts. There is no neutral ground. Take inventory of your surroundings. Assess the voices that fill your ears, the examples before your eyes, and the energy that surrounds you. Then make deliberate choices to create an environment that makes growth inevitable, not just possible. Failure is not your enemy. It's not the end of your story. It's not proof that you should give up. Failure is simply feedback, valuable information that can propel you forward if you have the wisdom to use it correctly. Every setback contains a lesson waiting to be extracted. When you miss a target, lose an opportunity, or face rejection, you're being handed a gift, the chance to learn something that success could never teach you. These lessons form the foundation of lasting achievement. Learning to fail forward means refusing to let temporary defeats become permanent definitions. It means asking, what can I learn? Instead of, why did this happen to me? It means treating each unsuccessful attempt not as wasted effort, but as necessary research. The most successful people in every field have experienced more failures than average people, not fewer. They've simply refused to be defined by those failures. They understand that falling down is not the problem. Staying down is history's greatest success stories. Include chapters of devastating setbacks. Companies that dominate markets today nearly went bankrupt. Respected leaders were once fired from positions. Celebrated authors received dozens of rejections. What separated them was their response to these moments. The temporary nature of defeat is one of life's most liberating truths. No failure is final unless you decide it is. No setback is permanent unless you stop moving forward. No mistake defines you unless you allow it to become your identity rather than an incident. Your relationship with failure determines your capacity for success. When you fear failure, you play small and safe. When you respect failure as a teacher, you attempt what others won't dare. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you develop resilience that cannot be broken. Stop hiding your failures. Stop being ashamed of them. Stop apologizing for them. Instead, showcase them as essential steps in your development. Let them fuel your determination rather than dampen your spirit. The fire that burns down one chapter of your life provides light and warmth as you write the next. Use the energy of disappointment to power your comeback. Transform the pain of defeat into the persistence that eventually guarantees your victory. Look to nations with limited resources, and you'll find lessons in human potential that comfortable societies often miss. In places where nothing is guaranteed, where daily survival requires creativity and determination, ordinary people demonstrate extraordinary resilience. When you have little, you learn to create much from it. The mother who feeds a family from a tiny garden. The student who shares a single textbook with 5 classmates yet excels academically. The entrepreneur who builds a business with no startup capital. These are not exceptional stories in resource-limited environments. They're everyday realities. The power of hunger, not physical hunger, but soul hunger, creates an unstoppable drive. When you urgently need to succeed, when there are no safety nets beneath you, when comfort is not an option, you discover capacities within yourself that abundance often leaves dormant. Necessity strips away excuses. It forces innovation and demands solutions. While those in comfortable circumstances debate whether something can be done, those facing necessity simply find a way to do it. They can't afford the luxury of impossible. There's an abundance hidden within scarcity that comfortable people rarely discover. Limited tools sharpen creativity. Limited options concentrate focus. Limited resources eliminate waste. The constraints that appear to be disadvantages often become the very forces that drive ingenious solutions. Many who achieve greatness from humble beginnings maintain their hunger even after finding success. They preserve the mindset that propelled them forward. They remember that comfort is the silent killer of achievement. It whispers enough. This isn't about glorifying hardship or suggesting that material lack is somehow virtuous. It's about recognizing that the human spirit flourishes not in ease, but in challenge. It's about understanding that comfort zones, while pleasant, are also growth graveyards. The greatest threat to your potential might be your current conveniences. The safety nets that protect you may also be holding you back. The comforts you enjoy might be the very things keeping you from the discomfort of growth. Adopt the perspective of necessity, even if circumstances don't demand it. Create urgency where none exists. Cultivate hunger in the midst of plenty. Force yourself to solve problems with less. You'll discover resources within yourself that comfort would never reveal. Your feelings will lie to you. They fluctuate with your circumstances, your physical condition, even the weather. If you allow your emotions to guide your decisions, your life will be as unstable as they are. All successful living requires anchoring yourself to something more reliable than how you feel in any given moment. It demands commitment to timeless principles that remain true regardless of your emotional state or external situation. Principles are the universal laws that govern human achievement and fulfillment. Like gravity, they operate whether you believe in them or not. Principles like integrity, discipline, responsibility, and service produce predictable results across cultures and throughout history. When you build your life on solid principles, rather than shifting emotions, you create stability in an unstable world. You develop character that withstands storms. You make decisions that stand the test of time rather than satisfying momentary desires. People who live by feelings chase temporary pleasures at the expense of lasting fulfillment. They avoid necessary pain and miss the growth it brings. They abandon commitments when motivation fades. They change direction with every emotional wind. On contrast, principle-centered individuals understand that feelings follow actions, not the other way around. They do what is right even when they don't feel like it, knowing that positive emotions eventually catch up to principled behavior. Consistency that comes from principle-based living creates trust in your relationships, reliability in your work, and peace in your heart. Others know exactly what to expect from you because your behavior isn't dictated by passing moods. Principles provide clarity in confusing situations. When you're unsure what to do, return to your core principles. They simplify complex decisions by eliminating options that violate what you know to be true. Build your life on the solid foundation of unchanging principles, not the shifting sand of temporary feelings. Let your emotions inform you, but never let them rule you. Be guided by what you know rather than what you feel. Your life is about far more than the years you spend on this earth. True success isn't measured by what you acquire, but by what you leave behind after you're gone. The greatest question isn't what can I get, but what will remain when I'm no longer here. Legacy thinking transforms your priorities. It forces you to look beyond immediate results to consider lasting impact. It shifts your focus from the urgent to the important, from the temporary to the eternal, from consumption to contribution. You're writing your legacy every day through your choices, your words, your actions, and your investments. These daily decisions compound over time to create the story others will tell about you when you can no longer speak for yourself. Most people never consider their legacy until the end of their lives, when they suddenly realize how much time they've wasted on things that won't matter after they're gone. They chase promotions, possessions, and pleasures that leave no lasting mark on the lives. What will outlast you? What are you creating that future generations will benefit from? Who are you developing that will carry forward your values and vision? These questions reveal the true measure of your success. Building a meaningful legacy requires living beyond yourself. It means planting trees whose shade you'll never sit under. It means starting projects you may not live to complete. It means investing in people who will continue when you cannot. Your legacy exists in multiple dimensions. There's a financial legacy, the resources you leave to causes and people you care about. There's an intellectual legacy, the ideas and knowledge you pass on. There's a social legacy, the relationships and communities you strengthen. And there's a moral legacy, the example of character you set for others to follow. The urgency of legacy comes from its non-negotiable deadline. Unlike many goals that can be postponed, the opportunity to shape your legacy expires the moment your life does. This reality doesn't need to create fear, but it should instill a healthy sense of urgency. Start today to build something larger than yourself, something that addresses needs that will exist long after you're gone, something that carries your influence beyond the boundaries of your lifetime. Now for actions this very second. Not when you finish reading. Not when you feel more confident. Everything you've heard today means nothing without your immediate response. Your potential remains just that, potential, until you activate it through decisive action. The world is waiting. People need what only you can give. Your contribution matters in ways you rise up from where you sit. Step out from where you stand. Move beyond. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your opportunity to become everything you were created to be. Begin now.